You know, I noticed something about my son that honestly changed the way I see him. He doesn't stop habits, he replaces them. And once I realized that, everything started making sense. Not perfectly, but enough to change the way I react as a parent. So there was a time when he kept on turning on the sink, getting water in his hand, drinking it, spilling it everywhere. And it didn't matter how many times I'd wipe it up, dry up the floor, or try and tell him to stop or redirect him. That was his thing. He wouldn't stop. And then one day, he just stopped. Just like that. No training, no intervention, nothing. And I thought, finally, it's over, it's done. But I was wrong. Because he just replaced it with something else. He started finding containers. Any kind of containers that contained liquid. So milk, juice, drink, whatever. And he would pour them down the sink. Then refill them with water, pour that down the sink as well. And it didn't matter where we put the bottles. It didn't matter where I hid them, how high I put them. He would find a way to get access. That's how his brain worked. He figured it out. Problem solved. Chair, counter, climb, reach. There you go. He now had access. And at the time I remember thinking, why does it feel like he stops one thing and then picks up a new habit? And then I thought maybe it's just coincidence. And then this happened. There was a phase where he'd carry a spoon, a little teaspoon, no matter where he went, to school, to bed, to his grandma's house. That spoon had to be there. If he had misplaced or lost that spoon, I'd have to go out and get one. And it had to be the exact same spoon. Now to everyone else, the spoons looked the same. But to him, he could tell the little dent, the little change in size, the little marks on the actual spoon, and he had to be the exact same one. And as a father and as a parent that's quite hands-on, you notice these little changes, these little differences. And no matter what we did, we could not get that spoon out of his hand. He had to have that spoon. Until one day, it just stopped. The spoon was right in front of him, on the floor. He didn't pick it up. He didn't actually even care. And then more recently, eggs. He'd find a carton of eggs. Again, didn't matter where I put them, how high or where I hid them, he would find them somehow. He'd take them and walk to the kitchen. He'd go near the conservatory and there was a tiny gap there. And he would break the eggs and just push them in through that tiny gap. Imagine all the cleaning that I had to do after that. And this would continue for days. At one point, I stopped buying eggs. He did stop temporarily, and then when I bought them again, he started again. And then I realized something. None of this is random. I started noticing patterns. He wasn't losing habits. He was cycling through them. And there's a difference right there. You see, his brain and many autistic brains, they need a task, they need a focus, they need a way to explore. And for my son, when one thing was explored enough, he'd move on to the other. And this wasn't him trying to be mischievous or bad behavior. It was just curiosity expressed differently. And that changed everything for me. Because before that realization, I used to react. And after that realization, I started observing. And that shift from reacting to observing, that's huge for a parent. Because reacting sounds like, no, stop that. Why are you doing this again? Can you please stop? And observing sounds like, what is he exploring now? What needs is this meeting? What's the pattern here? And once I started to observe rather than react, I noticed something else. He wasn't trying to make a mess. He wasn't trying to be difficult. He was trying to learn. He was experimenting. Textures, liquid, movement, cause and effect, things that most kids would explore quickly. He was exploring them deeply. And that's when it hit me. Maybe the goal isn't to always stop habits. Maybe the goal is to understand it. Because when you understand it, you stop fighting your child. And when you stop fighting your child, you start to support them. And that changes the entire relationship. Not overnight, slowly, but definitely. And from the outside, someone might see it and think, wow, your child's making a mess. They're not behaving. But parents of autistic children like us, we know better. We see patterns behind the behavior. We see curiosity. We see repetition. We see focus. And we see something else too, which is really important. We see growth. Because every phase that ended meant our child was developing. Our child was moving forward. Our child was growing. My son was learning something new, even if that something is something I didn't understand. So now, when he picks up a new habit, I don't panic. I pay attention. Because I know something that people don't. It won't last forever. And not because there's something wrong, but because he is always searching, always exploring. His mind wants to learn something new. And honestly, that changes the way I see him. Not as a child that's stuck in habits, but as a child that's growing through them. And if you're raising a child like mine, you might see this too. The habit cycles, the phases, the patterns. So I'm curious, does your child replace habits like mine does? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.